So let's talk about how to buy gas in Mexico and to not get scammed at the same time. Buying gas in Mexico isn't that different from buying gas in the United States. It's really very similar to buying full service in the United States. But there's a number of things that you should watch out for to make sure that you're doing everything right, safe, and avoid scams. Now I have another video about finding the cheapest gas in Mexico. Gas Buddy, which is the app I use in the United States, doesn't work in Mexico. So by the end of this video, I'll tell you how to find that one, about how to find the cheapest gas. When my wife and I first moved down to La Paz in the Baja Peninsula, we only had an RV. So that was our sole form of transportation to get around into the city, including downtown. It was a challenge and it used a lot of gas. So we got a lot of experience buying gas in Mexico. And although we've never had a problem, I've heard of other people having problems, and I want to share kind of the problems that exist out there and how you can avoid them. So it's 2021, and you're going to have a lot of choices of gas stations in Mexico. Just a few years ago, it was all Pemex, run by the state. Pemex stations still exist, but they've opened up the market, and so there are a lot of other choices. Some people swear by Chevron or BP or something like that, saying it's better gas, but I usually go to a place that has the cheapest gas. And I'll also tell you how to find the cheapest gas by the end of this video. So the attendants are usually outside. There usually isn't an inside. It's not like the United States where you have a convenience store associated with each gas station. It's usually gas stations, there might be a convenience store nearby, but they're not necessarily associated with a convenience store. They can sell you things like oil and whatnot at the pump. And when you drive in, they will be waving you over to their pump and just pick a pump, drive up. And what I like to do is get out of my vehicle. It is full service, so you don't need to get out if you don't want to, but I just find it easier to get out my wallet and whatnot if I'm out of the vehicle, and also to communicate with them. My Spanish isn't that great, and a lot of gas station attendants don't necessarily speak much English either. So I like to be out of the car. You can also watch exactly what's happening around you and with the attendant. So you'll need to select a grade of gas, and they have regular unleaded, which is usually green colored or verde, and then they'll have another color which is usually like super unleaded. They don't often have that mid-grade, but they have the high and the low grade. And they also will often have diesel. Now, diesel in the United States is green, but in Mexico, it's black. And I have a friend who, when he was driving down first time in his diesel truck, he just pointed to the green because, you know, green means diesel, right? And then just a few miles down the road, his truck started acting awful. He had to get all of that pumped out and his engine a little bit of repaired. It could have been much worse than it was, but definitely want to make sure that you're getting the right gas. So one of the things with being out of the vehicle, you can point specifically and make sure that they pick up the correct handle. And if you want to fill up your tank, the word is lleno for full, or you could say that you want a specific dollar amount or a specific amount of liters. I just usually fill up. Now, the first thing you need to do, and they will usually point this out to you, is that the meter is at 0. So you're not paying for your gas plus the gas of the person before you. So usually they will point at it and show you that they're going to 0, but definitely check that's what they're doing, and that's what you should be watching out for, is to making sure it's at 0 before they start putting gas into your vehicle. Now, before I show you what she does next, I want to remind you that in all my videos, if I have any kind of updates, someone comments and there's some new information that I've discovered, I am going to put an update in the upper right-hand corner, which I think is this one, maybe that one, and let you know you can go click up there to get some additional information. So watch for that. Also, if you are new to Mexico, if you're planning on living in Mexico, if you want to retire in Mexico, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and be sure to push the little bell icon to be notified of future videos. So let's go back to what does she do next? So very common in Mexico, they'll wash your windshield. It is full service. So they won't always wash your windshield. You can, of course, request this. You can request that they check your oil and your transmission fluid and all that. They're there to help you. So ask for what you need and be sure to tip them. So I usually tip 10 or 20 pesos, so 50 cents or a dollar for those little bitty extra services. So when it's full, you, of course, need to pay, and this is where you need to be a little extra cautious. So if you're paying with a credit card, they will, of course, this is standard in countries outside the United States, they will bring the credit card machine to the pump and you will have your credit card run directly in front of you. They won't take your credit card inside. Don't let them go somewhere with your credit card. That's not the way things work in Mexico. They always bring the machine to you. So make sure that the numbers that they're typing into the machine match the numbers that are on the pump, so you're paying the proper dollar amount or proper peso amount. This has been no problem for me so far. I have heard of other people who say that sometimes the station attendant will say, oh, it didn't work, so you need to pay in pesos, or we need to run your card a second time. That's when you start to get a little nervous about what's going on. I would say try with a second card before I paid in pesos, because that'd be an easy way for them to just pocket your money. And then just go back to your credit card company and make sure everything was run legitimately. Most people in Mexico are very friendly, very nice. They're not out to scam you, but it does exist, so you do need to be cautious. And the way to be cautious if you're paying with money, with efectivo or cash, is to count the money out. So say, they say it costs 2,000 pesos, which was very typical for my RV, is that I would count it out, 500, 1,000, so that they saw the bills going down, even if you're counting in English. That way, it's harder for them to say, oh, you only gave me 1,500, because you can be like, I saw what I did. And that way, also, you're sure what you did, because I've sometimes done that where I've been like, what did I give you? I can't remember. But if you're counting it out and putting it into their hand, that's the best way to do it. And you should be paying with pesos. If they run your credit card, they're going to run it through with pesos. But if you're paying in cash, using pesos is the best. Most gas stations and many other places will have a sign that shows the exchange rate for if you want to pay in dollars, if they will accept dollars. You'll probably get cash back in pesos, by the way. But usually the exchange rate isn't very good. So you're getting more gas for your money if you pay in pesos. And the next possible scam is something that you really can't do anything, or you can do very little about. And that is that if a gas station is tweaking their meters so that you're not getting actually the same amount of liters as you're paying for. But there's really no way for you to know that when you pull into a gas station exactly how many liters are going in versus how many are going across on the numbers. So the only way to avoid this is really to watch where the taxi drivers are buying their gas, because that's usually those guys know if they're getting the right amount of gas. They're paying attention to how many miles or kilometers they're getting per liter and whatnot. So they're usually going to the place that are the most legitimate and that have high quality gas. So watch for that. That's usually a good sign. Now, before I go into my quick lesson to end this video, I want to remind you that I've got that Find the Cheapest Gas video up here now, and let's go into that quick lesson. Dollars and pesos. A peso is worth 1/20th of a dollar. So the best way to convert this is to cut off the last digit and then divide by 2. So if something is 200 pesos, cut off the 0, it's down to 20, cut that in half, it's $10, more or less.